Howdy. For AP Human Geography in our urban unit, Wednesday's lesson will, of course, be on the Omaha development. We've been talking about gentrification in Omaha, new developments. Yesterday's lesson was about Urban Village and how that's been redeveloped, and Village Point Mall. I mean, how it's really a whole different kind of development. Today, we're going to take a look at a couple more, the Blackstone and Midtown Crossing. And then we're going to lead it into what to do with the Crossroads. So today's lesson, again, one more of these recordings. Tomorrow on the classroom, well, it'll be on the classroom now, but there'll be a couple links for you to look at, articles. And what you're going to do is try to figure out, looking at all the development that we've talked about in Omaha, what they've done and what type of things they've done, what should be done with the Crossroads Mall area. It is the last big piece of Omaha that needs to be redeveloped. It's an old dead mall, and it's time to redevelop it. But taking a look at what you've learned about new urbanism and how new urbanism works in Omaha and some of the developments, I want you to start thinking about what would you think would be a good development for that. All right, let's get into Omaha development part 2. Midtown Crossing. Midtown Crossing is really down by 33rd and Dodge, for like Dodge and Farnham area, okay? Real quickly, if you look at the map over here, Dodge Street this side, Farnham here. If you've ever driven by it, you'll know it's these big buildings and they've got a huge green space out in front, okay? It was developed and opened in Omaha, oh boy, about 2010, I believe it was. And it's a huge development. It's right next to, basically, Mutual of Omaha. It's called the Midtown area because it's not downtown and it's not like West Omaha. If you look at the quote from their website, and I've got the link there, it's the place to go for authentic local fare in the heart of Omaha. An energetic, efficient stop for life's errands. Midtown Crossing thrives on convenience, affordability, and stellar service. And we're centrally located by the UN Med Center, Creighton, and downtown Omaha. And what they did is they took and changed an area. Remember that TIF stands for tax, basically where you go ahead and you can give tax incentives for people to build in parts of town where you want them to rebuild, and that'll help out. So what they did is they built this big complex. And this thing has got apartments, it's got condominiums, there's a hotel, there's restaurants, there's stores, there's bars, there's entertainment. That's where Jazz on the Green is, and even Omaha's Zydeco Musical Festival. Taking a look at this page, the condos are above everything. So you've got condos all around there. Around the green oval, looks like almost like a football field on the bottom. That's where you've got, if you look at the middle picture over there, that's where you've got restaurants and there's places out front that you can sit. The big green space is used for like Jazz on the Green and other stuff. If you look at the picture down in the corner, you'll see somebody presenting there and you'll see a huge crowd there. It's got all sorts of stuff. There's stores, there's, again, nightclubs, there's bars, there's restaurants. The concept is, let's put something in a part of town, the Midtown area here, and develop it. So if you wanted to live more downtown in a condo, you don't have to worry about, shoveling your driveway and like that. The parking's right under the condominiums, and boom, you're right on the line there. And it's downtown or close to downtown, so your commute's not bad. The Midtown Crossing has got some of the aspects, like we talked about, of new urbanism. Look at the green space. So you can go out there and play Frisbee or do other stuff. They do tournaments and stuff there for bocce and everything. I got a friend that's in a bocce league there. But it's all sorts of green space for open. But then if you look at the mixed use, you've got condominiums and apartments, okay? You got nightclubs. I mean, you can walk from your condominium to an elevator, go downstairs, just right down the sidewalk, boom. There you're on a restaurant. And if you look here, look at the outdoor seating areas, the green, the sidewalk area. Again, there are some concepts of new urbanism there. Smart, sustainable development. The Midtown Crossing, at first, a lot of people weren't quite sure about it, but it's really lodged solidly now. It's in a good part of town. Again, it's right next to Mutual of Omaha. It's a huge company. The Med Center, that's a big area. And this thing it's easy to get to. You're on Dodge Street, Farnham Street. So, I mean, you've got a lot of access. It's real easy. Not too far from the old market, just a couple miles from the old market. So, Midtown Crossing. Now, on the assignment, I'm going to have you get on their website, and so you can take a look at the businesses there, the restaurants, the events, and stuff like that, okay? Midtown Crossing is another area was developed downtown. Quit going all the way west. Why keep developing way, way, way out of Omaha and driving the money and the people out? Bring the money and the people back downtown. And that's the concept behind the Blackstone district, okay? That's just a little further west, 36 to about 42nd and Farnham Street. In the old days, and I'll show you a quick picture. See the picture in the middle? That's the Blackstone Hotel. The Blackstone Hotel was one of the best hotels in Omaha. It's a very historic hotel. People lived there, had a lot of money, and around the Blackstone district is where all the old mansions were in Omaha, going all the way over to the Jocelyn Castle. And in the hotel, the Blackstone Hotel itself, that's where butter brickle ice cream supposedly was invented, and the Reuben sandwich was invented there. So why not take an area that's had a little bit of, started getting run down for a while? Why not fix it up? Look at the quote from their website, and its website's right up there. You're going to want to look through that. The Blackstone District's classic structures along Farnham Street and those along the outlying blocks are now home to restaurants, bars, and businesses that offer contemporary cuisine, chic entertainment, and modern era services for patrons of all ages. What they're trying to do is get people to go down there and, again, go out to eat, walk around, see the nightclub and stuff. On the bottom here, and it'll be on the classroom also, is an article up from Food and Wine about how the Blackstone District and the restaurants there are really, really good. Something to go to. So this is another development in a part of Omaha that needed to be redeveloped, and now it's coming back to life. The Blackstone District has had a lot of life. It's kind of hard to see how all these things are going to, fare with the COVID virus and stuff like that, but I think it'll stick around and be good. Take a look at some of the pictures. It's the Blackstone District. They've got a lot of businesses at night. There's all sorts of restaurants and stuff like that, trendy stuff, nightclubs, bars, stuff like that. Now, there's also been development downtown Omaha. If you look at the picture right to the very right, you'll see the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge in the middle that goes across the Missouri River. Just right to the left of that, you're going to see two big condominiums that have built downtown. And those things, they go, baby. $400,000 or whatever for one of the condominiums. I've seen a list of that. That is downtown. You've got a beautiful view of the river, the bridge when it's lighted up, Council Bluffs. You can look at the casinos and the lights of the casino, watch Omaha's money go over there. And you're just really close within walking distance of the CHI Center, the College World Series, and the Old Market. And what they've done is they've taken a lot of the buildings downtown. The building in the middle, take an old hotel, and they've given it real life as condominiums. No one's going to stay there as a hotel, but they are going to be. If you take a look at the picture right next to it, look at the condominiums in them. Beautiful hardwood floor, big windows, high ceilings. You're living downtown. Now, probably not for many people with kids, because it's kind of have kids downtown at condominiums. Kids want to go outside and play. But for for 20s, 30s, 40s people, 50s people, age people, why not go outside and play in a different way? You've got all the bars and the nightclubs and everything like that. You've got the Ford down in the right-hand corner. You've got the Ford moving in center. I used to be an old storage place, and you move things, you put storage there. Well, they've turned those into condominiums. And not just that. The CHI Center downtown, that's where our concerts are, the swim trial for the Olympics and other stuff. That's a good idea. Develop that. If you look at the condominiums and look at all the green and stuff downtown, it's tough to have a lot of green in older buildings, but with the different access of walking around and stuff, people don't have to park as much, then, you cut down a little bit on pollution. Even something like the Hot Shops right down there. It's just north of the ballpark, if you guys know where that is, on Cumming Street. Just north of the ballpark is something called the Hot Shops. Used to be an old furniture manufacturing business. Today, that's where they make all sorts of artists in there, and they make glass. If you look at the picture right below there, they got a glass blower in there. They've got all sorts of art, and it's kind of like an artist colony. And then just right next to it, they took an old mattress factory, and they're turning that into an artist colony. So developing things to get people downtown. And if you're going to develop them, give people a place to live so that they live there, they shop there, they eat there. It gives more sense of community, okay? Which leads us to the Crossroads Mall. The Crossroads Mall is at 72nd and Dodge. It opened in 1960. It is not the first mall in Omaha. That would actually be the Center Mall over on 42nd and Center Street, but that is a small mall. Crossroads was the first big mall in Omaha. And it had a Sears Roebuck on one end and a Brandeis on the other. Later on became like a Yonkers. And it was the mall. If you look at the postcard over here in the upper right corner, that's how it looked. It had this little wavy roofs and stuff, and people went between the two big chain stores on either end, and it was the big shopping mall in Omaha for years and years. 1970, then we're going to take a look at moving a little further west, and Westwards will be developed. In the 1980s, you guys start talking about Oakview. 1990s, you go up and you've got like Village Point. But meanwhile, Crossroads kind of just started to slow down. If you look at the picture down below, the two white tents in the middle, it seemed like, that's what they decided to do with the food court. Okay, so in the late 80s, early 90s, they renovated the food court in the middle, and that was supposed to bring more people into the mall. But by and large, Crossroads Mall just kept losing patronage, losing companies. Sears closed, everything closed off, until eventually the only businesses in Crossroads were a Barnes and Noble bookstore, which you can see on the screenshot from Channel 3 News. There's the Barnes and Noble in the background, and a Target. Okay, the Target is where the white building is in the lower left corner. That big building there, that's the Target. That's what's left. Well, they've decided to close all of it out, and they're going to tear down the mall, except for the Target, I believe, because I believe Target does own that. And so, but all the rest of the mall. Now, look, you've got a parking garage right by the Target, so there is parking there. And tearing it down, you're on a major access street in Omaha. 72nd and Dodge is still a major street. Dodge is a very heavily trafficked thing. Right next to it, or real close to it, is Nebraska Furniture Mart. The Dew Space is right across the street from it. You can see that's a white building across from Dodge Street on the corner, the lower left corner. Children's and Methodist Hospital is just west of there, a little bit on Dodge Street. So, I mean, there's things around there. But what do you do with it? Now, we've taken a look at some of the other malls. Exarban Village, take an old racetrack and turn it into a huge center where you've got a theater, you've got restaurants, bars, you've got a park, you've got college, UNO and stuff. You've got Midtown Crossing. Well, let's build condominiums and a big green space, stuff like that. You've got the Blackstone, a rundown district. Let's go ahead, fix these buildings up because it's got character, personality, history, and let's get people back down there. So now the big question is, what should we do with Crossroads Mall? What would be best to put there? What would be best to develop it? And how do you develop it so that you get people there, so it's strong, and it adds to that part of town? On Classroom, on Google Classroom, is going to be the assignment that goes with this. I want you to do research on that area, on the concept. You take a look at all these other developments we talked about this week, and I want you to come up with a plan. What do you think would be best for Crossroads Mall, and why? And that's what you're going to work on Thursday and Friday. But no matter what we put on there, it's going to be interesting to see how in the next couple of years, finally something will be done with that area. And with the strong development there, that'll revitalize all those businesses around it. A good, strong development re-energizes an area. So let's see what you can do.